Hey everybody, this is your girl Liana Michelle, and I am faithfully her. So today, you guys, my guests are a husband and wife. And I know usually I will tell you guys all of these wonderful accolades and everything. But this introduction is just a little bit different because it feels different. Yes, these people have tons of accolades between them. They've done some amazing things, and we're going to talk about all of that. But the intro for me just felt like it needed to be presented differently. So I was very, very, very much intrigued by the journey of my guest. When I received the jacket to the book, I can see her. It was almost like I can see it. And for you guys that know me, you know I'm a history buff. You know, I love period pieces and everything. So just reading that quick little jacket took me on a journey with her. And I was extremely intrigued and I had to talk to her. I was motivated by the ability to not only meet the challenges that they've had to face in life, but to overcome those challenges. I was inspired by the love that they have found and the freedom to live and enjoy that love. So today I would like for you guys to welcome the well-renowned author, Horatio M Bennett, and his beautiful wife and author, Dr. Odeather Hill-Bennett. So everybody put your hands together. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was late with the clap track. I'm sorry. I was so wrapped up in my introduction, I forgot all about the clap. I'm sorry about that. So it's good to have you both on. And if you could, you want to introduce yourselves?
Well, I'm Odeather Hill.
Odeather Hill.
And it's
Dr. Odeather Hill Bennett.
My husband always remind me to say Dr.
I heard that. High five, husband. High five. That's right. You worked hard for that name. Baby.
Yes.
What Tina tell Ike? Tina told Ike, I worked hard for that name. On my name.
My sentiments exactly.
Yeah, it was a hard journey, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk about that at a later time when my book is out. But I dropped out of high school when I was 17 years old. And well, first of all, I chopped cotton when I was 7. Started when I was 7 years old, chopping and pitting cotton, helping my family, my grandmother and my siblings. But my mother passed away when I was almost 6 years old, and I never met my dad. At least I understand he left my family when I was a little lap baby, so I didn't have a chance to even talk to him until I was about 10 years old. We started writing each other. So I grew up in the cotton field on a plantation, living on a white man's plantation. We harvest his cotton. And some days I couldn't go to school because we had to harvest his cotton. So that was an experience that actually I was able to overcome those feelings of defeat, or the feelings of being having to depend on the system for for living. Although my grandmother was very resourceful and she planted vegetables and fruits, and so we didn't go hungry. And she was a spiritual woman. She prayed a lot. She didn't go to church a lot, but she prayed a lot. And she taught us to make sure that the color of our skin didn't matter. It was what we needed to do and what we had faith to do, and what she would call heavenly angel, earthly angels, that people on this earth will come in your life and will help you meet your goals. Just like you're helping a lot of people meet their goals, and I would consider you as a earthly angel. So remember that from now on.
Amen. I received that. I received that. You the first person to ever call me an angel, and I'm gonna take that. I am.
So that was my early experience in my life, and so after dropping out of high school, I got married and I had children. I have 4 children, and I was able to earn my GED in 1971, and I went on, and in 1995 I earned my doctorate degree in social work.
Yeah.
It was a hard journey, but I never forgot what my grandmother said. She said that an education would help me live a better life. And that's what I had kept in my mind. Even while I was raising my children, I had the urge to continue my education. Although I felt responsible for taking care of my kids. And at the time I was married and responsible for taking care and being a wife to my ex-husband, who's ex-husband now. I am now currently married to Horatio Bennett. And let me tell you, one thing that people have to understand, it's never too late. You're never too old. Horatio and I'm 77 and he's 80.
Yes.
So we got married on my birthday. I wanted him for my birthday present.
Oh.
So this year, we married January 29th of this year.
Oh, so you guys are still in the newlywed phase.
Yes,
Yeah.
Still in the honeymoon phase.
Yes.
So he's a Jamaican, and I'm learning a lot from him. He thinks he knows everything. He thinks that Jamaica knows everything. So, but it has been an awesome experience with him. I had been divorced and not married for almost 35 years.
Oh, wow.
Because I had my own private practice. Well, I was getting my education, raising my children. And I had a private practice for 21 years until I retired in 2019. And in that private practice, I serviced children who were neglected and abused. And many of them were sexually abused. And some were abused by their biological father. And then some were abused by their mother's boyfriend. Or a relative. That was a very difficult job, but it was also rewarding because I was able to help those children manage being away from their parents until their parents had a chance to meet the compliance of the court.
Yeah.
So I'm on a new journey now with my husband with the prostate cancer. And also, as we talked earlier, I started an organization called Deaf Matters, and we are addressing and advocating for the issues of deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf blind. I'm hard of hearing, and I had been a hearing person all of my life. And it suddenly happened to me when actually about 10 years ago when it first started. But in 2013 is when I lost my hearing in my left ear. I had already lost my hearing in my right ear. And it was very difficult. It was like my life had turned upside down because I was a therapist and needed to hear what people were saying.
Right, yeah.
So then that changed. And but what I did, first I was angry with God and saying, why is this happening to me? But then over a period of time, remembering what my grandmother said to me and what she said about faith and praying, I prayed and I prayed. And then I started asking God, what are you preparing me for? So that's what I have to do. Instead of asking God, why? And why is this happening? Why is that happening? We have to realize that things do happen in our life, but we have to turn the question around and ask, what are you preparing me for? And I tell you,
Right.
things just changed. Doors just opened. And I started having conferences on deaf, hard of hearing in the community. So we were able to help people learn about the issues of deaf and hard of hearing and some of the deafblind individuals. So
That
that's what I have.
is,
Two journeys, prostate cancer with my husband in Deaf Matters, dealing with the deaf community. And my
that
book
is
coming
amazing.
out.
You know, when I listen to your story, I think that's what that's the American dream. That's what America should be. That you represent what America should be. Someone who went through so many, like the lows, the hard parts, the struggle of being 7 years old in that cotton field, but you never stopped. You kept going. You kept going. You know what I'm saying? You kept fighting for yourself, believing in yourself, creating something better for yourself, knowing that the better you are, the better your kids are going to be. So,
Yes.
you know, you implanted something in them throughout your struggle and your journey of earning your doctorate and so forth. You showed them a work ethic. You showed them a dedication and a commitment to something that you really, really want. You know, and when you show your kids that, even though you might not be saying it to them, they see that. And you can tell that they see it by what you see them do when they're adults.
Yes.
So, and that's what America was built on, right? We fought to get away from the Brits to be independent and to stand on our own 2 feet, to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and make something happen for ourselves. And that's exactly what I feel like you should be on the picture of what America should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, people have this misconception about what makes America great, but you are what makes America great, because you're exactly what everybody migrate over here for. You know, so thank you for being a beautiful representation to the American dream. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And all of my children are doing very well in life. Actually, my youngest daughter has earned her doctorate degree in nursing.
Yeah.
So, and my oldest son is a movie maker, and my youngest son, he loves cooking, and he's a great artist. And my second daughter, she has her own business, doing some things, and she's a photographer. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed that they all are doing very well. My grandkids. So again, I'm happy with my husband. We are going to be doing some great things together, and yes, and we're newlyweds. And remember, people out there, you're never too old.
Yes, and that inspires me too, because part of me is like, yeah, you know, I do want that companion. I do not believe that God is going to allow me to just live out the rest. Like, I've been single for so long. I'm like, it's already been a decade. So, you know, but after so long of being single, you kind of get resolved in it. You get comfortable in it, and you get comfortable in that space. So a lot of times I'm like, yeah, you know, I kind of do want that relationship, but I don't want to share my space with anybody. I'm not to that point yet where I'm ready to share my space with someone. So I just figure, you know what, Lord, when it's time, just slap me on the head and tell me it's that one, and we'll be all right. Until then, I'm gonna just stay focused on other things and not worry about it too much. But yeah, reading that you guys 77 and 80 and just got married, it did say there's hope for me yet.
Yeah.
There is, believe me, when it's time, because it didn't happen to me until actually I think that because I was doing the Lord's work, and I'm still doing the Lord's work, but I had to complete my education. That's what my grandmother encouraged me to do. I have to be a model for my children and for other people who are around me. So I had to do those things. I had to have my own private practice so I could help children deal with the issues of being neglected and abused. So those things I felt that I had to do until it was time for me to retire. And then once I retired, although it was difficult to retire, but once I retired, then I was in 2019. In 2021, I met my husband. And now 2022, I'm a married woman.
So it wasn't a long engagement at all, huh? You sold that up real quick, didn't you? You put a lock on that real quick. You didn't let her think about it too long.
Yes. Exactly.
But I was just talking to somebody not too long ago about relationships and stuff, and I was telling them, like, they say that when a man knows his wife, when he knows. So he's not gonna tiptoe around it. He's not gonna play. He knows that that's the one. Then he moves right on in and he begins. It's a friend of mine. She's dating a guy and they're new to it. And she's like, he's just going so fast, it's scaring her. And, and I told her, I said, well, they say when a man know when he found his wife, and if he feels like you the one, he's not going to slow down. He's going to move, forward, because it's in his spirit that you are the one. So he doesn't see a reason to take things slow. You have to catch up to where his thinking is right about now, so yeah, I like to see that. I love a love story. I'm a sucker for love. So Mr. Bennett,
before you ask the question, let me skip over the mushy part of this relationship. When I met her, we sat and we spoke for maybe about 3 hours. And when she left, I got on the phone and called my friend. I said, this is the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Oh. I just met her, spoke with her, and called my friend. I said, yes, this is the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. And it has been great so far because she complements a lot of the things that I am doing. And I have been like super active. And when she comes into my life, I say, wow, this was the person. God took my late wife 2 years prior, and I had no intention of getting involved. I was like 79 years old. I had no intention of getting involved with anybody. But when I met her, I said, this is my earthly angel. That's what they call it. Yeah, this is her. Okay. Back to me. I am from Jamaica. So if you're detecting that accent, is not because I have this lip thing going. That's the way I speak. I am a Jamaican. I came here.
I wouldn't have never guessed. I wouldn't
have never guessed. You will know as I go along and I begin to get more comfortable, then most of the accent will emerge more and more. It becomes more conspicuous. But I came here in 1967 as an exchange student. Okay. And like most foreigner who comes to America, we hit the ground running because there are just so much opportunities here in the United States. And I decided that I really want to do them all. And my resume will show that I've been involved in just about everything. And I am not going to really get into it because it's uncomfortable talking about yourselves and your accolades and all that stuff. But I was 64 years old when I contracted prostate cancer. And that was a new experience for me. That was the changing of the guard. I contacted prostate cancer at 64, and I survived it. I've been a cancer survivor like 14 years now. And I decided that when I look at the statistics, how many of my brothers and my uncles and my nephews and my fathers are going through, are susceptible to this disease, I decided that, listen, this will be my purpose in life, to help my brothers. I've written a book that's called Black America, We're Dependent on You. And unless Black America is there, then there is no dependence. We can't depend on somebody that is not there. So I decided that, listen, I've got to make sure that the brothers begin to become proactive in their health, because they become proactive in doing other things, in the way they dress, in the way they eat, in the way, so many things. But as far as the health issue, we are inclined to be a little lacking there, reluctant there. It's not a high priority for us, because as a Black man, on top of it, as a Jamaican, we believe we are invincible. Nothing is going to happen to us. And I would not have been here if I didn't have a wife who insisted that I go to the doctor and take these tests. Nothing was wrong with me. I am a very healthy person, but just to shut her mouth, I said, okay, I will go to the doctor. Just to have her quiet, because I'm hearing it every day. Horatio, where this? Horatio, when are you going? She's an American, so she doesn't really talk like that. She says, how would Americans say, Horatio, why don't you go to the doctor? How would you say that?
I would say, if you were my husband, I would say, I need you to go to the doctor so I won't have to continue to worry about you. Just get yourself checked out, and you might be healthy, might not be anything wrong, but I would need you to go to the doctor.
That's what she said to me. That's what my late wife said to me. So I went to the doctor, because she repeats, listen, no, when you come across a Black woman who has her mind set on something, well, you better believe, you better fall in place. You better fall in place, otherwise you're going to have problems. So I had to just, only way I could quiet her is to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor, bam, I discovered that I was walking around with prostate cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And that is something that, that's the cross for the whole thing. My brothers, you have to go to the doctor and do that test. Most of us, we don't want to go, we don't want to do that colonoscopy thing, because we don't want anybody mess around the other side of us.
Right.
But the 30 minutes of inconvenience, and it doesn't hurt, because in most instances you are being medicated, so it doesn't hurt. But just the thought of having someone playing around behind there, a lot of us don't really want to do that. But that 30 minutes of inconvenience can add 30 years to your life.
Amen.
And that is my thing. We have got to go and take those steps.
Yeah.
And they changed the age requirement for colonoscopies now. I think they used to be, you had to get it at the age of 50, but now it's 40, right?
40, exactly.
Yeah, so they changed that age limit so they can detect it earlier, or is that more so because they're noticing it more in younger aged men?
May I interrupt?
Please.
What Horatio has said in particular, I never met his late wife, but when he talks about her and how she encouraged him to get to get checked out, I admire her. And men need to understand, they need to listen to their wife, to their fiance, to their girlfriend, to their mother, to their aunt, to their cousin, who tells them, just go get yourself checked out. It doesn't mean that you're any less of a man because you go get an exam. Sometimes men don't want to go get an exam. I'm this macho person. I exercise every day. I walk every day. But do they get their prostate taken,
Right,
checked out?
right, right.
So I just want to emphasize that. Like I said, I never met her, but I admire the fact that she insisted on him getting an exam.
And thank God that she did. And in ABA they teach us that everything happens for a reason. So if I'm
Yes.
sitting here and I'm rationalizing that her pushing you to get checked out
Mm-hmm.
was setting you up to make sure that you two would find each other once she was gone.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know,
To make sure you had somebody else that was going to be able to step in and make sure you keep getting checked out. You know what I'm saying? After.
God has a way of moving things around. He shuffles things around so that we don't get too complacent. That's how God's work, I think. But that's what he does. He shuffles us around. And when I lost Tash, it was very dear to me. Like I said earlier, that I had no intention of getting involved with anyone else. And then when I met Odeather, she 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 is similarly nagging as my late wife, because I think this is a characteristic of a Black American woman, nagging. So she nags me into doing a lot of things. But let me say this, and this is very important. My brothers, the girls, the female that is in your life, treat them well, because there possibly might be a time when you're going to depend on her.
Amen.
When we get sick, the only person, forget about the doctor and what have you, that person that is closest to us. I remember when I was going through my changes, we had that for want of a more medically correct word, we had that pee bag strapped to my leg, and I see my late wife remove that smelly contraption. And had I treat her any other way except lovingly, she would not go through that. She would not do that. And this is the reason why you have to, if the lady that you're with is not your close friend, then you have got to nurture her and cultivate her to be your close friend. Because believe me, chances are you're going to need her in a big way.
Amen. And I do think about that too, as far as, when you growing old. And I always say, one of the reasons why I'm so invested in the behavioral health and wellness of our young people and getting them psychological help that they need is because I think about that. Like when I'm old and I'm alone and I'm getting older. So what if something happens and I have to be in a nursing home? The last thing I want is the person coming in with his pants sagging and gold tea talking about it's time for your bath. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? So you're right. The person that you have in your life is very, very important. The way that you treat each other, the relationship that you have with each other, because no one wants to be at the mercy of someone else or someone
Exactly.
who doesn't know them, who don't have that type of love and compassion for them. You want to be, when you're in your most vulnerable state, you want to be with someone that you can be vulnerable with, that you can trust yourself with in those vulnerable moments. And because I took care of my mom, and you're right, it's not pretty. It's a lot of different things that you have to go through. And I know that she felt more comfortable knowing that it was me coming in there with that sponge bucket than a stranger in a rehab or a hospital somewhere. So that is very important, to just, and even if you're not married, listen to your kids, because I can
Yes.
remember just being the one always on my mom about her medicine and her eating habits and this and that and so forth. And she would get so angry at me because I would search her room and find candy bars. And I would have to take the candy bars. And I would tell the neighborhood kids, like, if Miss Hazel come and ask you to go to the store for her, tell her no. I don't care how much money she gonna give you. Tell her no. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the people in your life that care about you the most are going to be the ones that push you to go to those doctor's appointments and get those health screenings and do what you need to do to stay on this earth with them for as long as you possibly can.
Right. And the prospect of our black brothers catching prostate cancer, they said for every 100,000 African American, 200 of them will contract prostate cancer. And from the 200 of them, the 1 out of 10 will die from prostate cancer. So we have, it's not so much a lifestyle that causes prostate cancer, because they are still researching, trying to find out why is it so proportionate. The proportion is so high among African Americans. But we need to realize that even if you're healthy, you could be walking along the road, and the next thing you know is that you're a victim for prostate cancer. And the only way, I believe that because I caught it in time, this is the reason why I'm sitting here 14 years after the actual occurrence. I'm sitting here because I caught it in time. But there's another side of it, because when I caught prostate cancer, all they saw were 2 little polyps. And my doctor says, well, he didn't like the look of it, and I should go and do a biopsy. And when they did the biopsy, they said, okay, those 2 little polyps are sign of cancer. And the best way to do is to remove them. So I said, well, okay. I chose, after a lot of research, I chose to do the radical surgery. We are going to be faced with a lot of decisions if something like that happens. It's not something that you can say, okay, I'm thirsty, so I'm going to drink water. It's not that easy. There are a whole lot of things that you have got to look at. And when I decided I would have the radical surgery, I went into the operating room. And when the doctor started to remove those 2 little polyps, they discovered that underneath was covered with cancer. So you see that even though I caught it in time, I thought I caught it in time, but it's not the in time that I was looking for, because what happened is that I thought they would just remove the 2 polyps and that would be, but they had to remove the entire prostate.
Oh my goodness.
And they had to call my late wife in the waiting room and say, come, you've got to sign this to give us authority to remove the whole thing, because it's not just the two polyps that is in contention. So it is important that we do have those tests. It is important that we have those tests. One of the things about prostate cancer is that the symptoms are very, very rare and light. A person might live their entire life with prostate cancer and there is no adverse effect. While another person might discover that they have prostate cancer and they have to move fast. Because this is the thing with me, is that I was very fortunate, and this is why I'm able to sit here and say, no, listen, I'm telling my body, look, I've been through it. So I am telling you, there are really no way to avoid contracting prostate cancer. That is still on the board. Nobody knows how to avoid it. But the title of my book is Coping with Prostate Cancer. Coping with prostate cancer. And after you have caught prostate cancer, then your life is going to change. It will forever change. And my book is about what do I do after the surgery.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Like, after they removed the prostate, what was the process like moving forward after that? Did you have to do chemo, change diets? Like, what was your experience after it was removed?
Well, there is a whole, like I said, there is a total life change. Our ability to have sex as we used to will no longer be there. We will begin to start looking at things from a different perspective, because the realization that will come upon you is that I was at death's door and I have survived. So the rest of my life, how am I going to spend the rest of my life? I've been creative person. I have written like 8 books. I'm always busy doing things. So my purpose, I could always pull from all those various things that I've done and select any one of them as being my purpose moving forward. And I decided then that my purpose now is to inform my brothers. And I will use whatever medium or whatever channel become accessible to me. I will use it like this one I'm using now, using your medium to let the brothers know, listen, when you have prostate cancer, it is not an individualistic thing. A whole community, a whole family has been affected. If your wife, with you not being there, your wife is going to have to uh, face the brunt of the whole thing. Your kids are not going to have a father. You know, your church is not going to have an elder. The paper boy is not going to be able to get that extra tip that you're giving them. You are an important person.
Yeah.
And we have got to realize that we are important, not to us, but to our community. And this is what I said. So many people, we are depending on us right now, even though we might not realize it. You know, you're a part of the bowling league, and you think that you're not important. But sometimes they require you to take the guys to and from one place to the other. So we are important in a broad spectrum of life. And this
Yeah.
is why I think that it is so important that we encourage our brothers, take the test so that you can be around, because Black America, we are depending on you.
Yes, yes, we are. But y'all hear that, man? We depending on y'all. I'm still
Yes.
single. Go get checked. That's gonna be.
Honey, could you talk about some of the things that women need to be concerned about, like when you are
Yes.
when going through the after you find out, what did you do? Did you stay downstairs to avoid your relationship?
I'm glad you brought that up, because the reason why it is so important that the women understand the men. When a man has prostate cancer, he is a different person.
Mhm.
And she has got to be able to read those hidden signs. She has got to be able to hear the things that he's not saying. He has got prostate cancer, she doesn't know it. So he spends a lot of time in the basement or with the other fellows, like I did, to avoid having to be with my wife. I have to wait as I'm downstairs listening for my wife to go to sleep, so that I would come up and go to bed.
Now, is this before you were diagnosed?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This was before the diagnosis?
No. After.
After, okay.
Yeah, after I have the prostate cancer. This shows how the wives are so intimately affected. Because, like I said, I waited in the basement until Tash goes to sleep, then I would come up to bed. Because my sexual prominence is not there anymore. And there are other things. I am not going to tell my wife that, I can't really satisfy you sexually as I used to, because I'm a man, I'm macho. I'm not going to tell her that. But and then, because you're not doing that, then she says to herself, wow, I'm not attracted to him anymore. He doesn't like me anymore. I am not that sexual object to him anymore. And she rightfully believes these things. So this is the reason why we talk with women to read those signs when those things are happening. He doesn't want to watch certain kind of movies. He gets uncomfortable if you're watching a movie in which emotions are being displayed. He feels uncomfortable because he's afraid that she is going to require such in which he would not be able to. And these are the delicate things that men are not talking about. We're having a seminar at my church November the 17th. And even though it is at the church, but these are the things that we're going to be talking about. One of my big problems is that I thought I was the only one who had prostate cancer. I had no idea that so many of my male friends have been through it. So I am talking about it to encourage those who have been through it to talk about it also. It is not, it is not taboo. It is not, it doesn't make you less than a man to say that I've had prostate cancer. Because if I knew my friend John had prostate cancer, I would not have gone through all the trial and errors that I went through. I could have gone to John and said, John, what do you do when such and such happens? And John, who have been through it, John would have told me. But we are not talking about it. And this is really why, this is the reason why I'm encouraged about, if those who have gone through it, let that be your legacy to help somebody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is also important at the seminar for women to be there as well, so you can hear some of the issues and some of the concerns that men might have, and why men don't want to go to get a prostate cancer test. They could be afraid of going. You know, if I go, I might have it, and if I have it, then I have to do this and I have to do that. So, but we as women need to understand, and we also need to understand how to be sensitive to our men, to our husband, to our fiance, to our boyfriends that might have prostate cancer. We have to understand that love is not just sex.
Right.
It
Here you
is
go.
it is
Right.
love. Is holding hands. Love is taking care of each other. Love is saying I love you and behaving in a way to show that I love you. So all of those things, taking care of buying food, buying your favorite
Wait,
food.
wait. Let me talk you right there. Let me talk. You're not giving our listeners and our viewers the impression that we are not having sex, are you? We are. There is life after prostate.
And I was gonna ask you, is there a certain time, like, I didn't know whether did you, that's what I was gonna ask you as far as like the after effects, did you have to go through chemo or whatever? And at any point in time, did your sex drive come back? Did it re-enter into your relationship?
It did come back after first thing before I had the surgery. They told my wife, they didn't tell me, they told my wife that if we remove the prostate, you are going to be removing other things that will prevent him from having sex. He's going to be like an ED person, right? He's going to have erectile dysfunction.
Mhm.
But my wife says and this I learned this after. She told him, she said, well, she thought about it and she said, well, we were like 18 years in our marriage, so we have had a lot of fun. And she says, well, even if we never have sex again, if that is what going to change his life, then that's what we will do. So they remove, and the doctor told me after is that you must accept the fact that you might not be able to have sex again. That was a blow to the ego of a black man, especially if he's a Jamaican. That is a blow. But we realized that, like she said, I could love my wife, and I loved Tash, and I nurtured that love every step of the way without having sex, because the sex did not come back until like maybe about a year after, being able to do that. So I did not have chemo. I did not have any like chemo, and what's the other one? Laser. I didn't have any of those, and I'm glad that I didn't. A lot of people have had those, and they came through okay. But one of the things that I discovered and I saw in my research, that if you should resort to chemo, it is going to maybe solve that problem, but it will also create other problems. If you're going to do the laser is, they say that the laser will go straight to it, but it does not. In order for it to go straight to it, it has to pass various organs before it reaches it. So there, the possibility of something happening is more likely. The radical surgery, you knew right up front. Don't you worry about it. You're not going to have sex again.
Okay.
That's what the radical surgery says. But I am happy that I was able to right to overcome that part and retrieve it. But let's say that it did not. Let's say I did not. Like she says, love is not just dependent on sex.
Right.
Because if you really love a person, there are so many other areas in which you can display that love. And we are in the 21st, we are in the 21st century. So there are other ways in which sex doesn't necessarily have to be an invasive thing. If anybody can understand my meaning, it doesn't really have to be. There are so many other ways in which you can satisfy a person or let a person feel that they are being loved. And this is some of the messages that we want the brothers to know. A lot of them don't want to go to that test because they say, if I go to the test, just like he said, they're afraid that they are going to discover that I have prostate cancer. It's no difference than they didn't discover it, but you have it anyway. There is no difference. So it's best that you realize what your situation is. Somebody says a man ought to know his limitations. And this is what, if we know that we have got this challenging medical situation, we can deal with it. But we have to know that we have it. We have got to accept that we have it. God has not given us a spirit of fear. He has not. He has given us a sound mind. And we need to realize that we don't really have to be afraid. The only thing you really need to be afraid of is if you should die and not accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior. That's the only thing you need to be afraid of. Otherwise than that, listen, he will not take you this far to leave you. And I'm encouraging the brother, go take that test. Go take that test. Listen to that woman, listen to that daughter, listen to that son, listen to whomever is telling you, Dad, go take this test. My brother, go take this test. And that's all it takes, just a test.
Now, your seminar on November the 17th, what can we expect? Is it like a panel of different speakers or different survivors? What can we expect?
You said it all. We have invited men who have undergone prostate cancer, survivors. We are also inviting men who are going through it. We are also inviting men who needs to know what to do if it should happen. We have Henry Ford is sending us a speaker, a cancer specialist, and they can ask him or her questions. It will be an open mic forum. It's not that you're sitting down there lecturing to people. The audience can interact. Okay. They will have a microphone in the audience. Anybody wants to ask a question, they can ask a question, and anybody on the panel can answer it. So it will be an open forum. There will be various persons there. We will have people that are caregivers who are taking care of people who have cancer. So these are some of the things that we will be discussing there. We have got brochures and what else we have?
We asking people to register.
Oh yeah.
And maybe you can give you the email address.
That's very important. Registration is very important because one thing Henry Ford has asked us that they need to have an idea how many people will be there because they are planning on conducting screen tests. It's a simple blood draw test, but they need to know approximately how many people will be there. So we are cutting off accommodation about maybe 75 people. After that, we are cutting accommodation off. So we're asking people to to register online, and it's HNB Foundation at USA.com.
Say that again.
HNB Foundation.
HN.
Yeah, as in Nancy.
Mhm.
Horatio.
Got you. .com.
Yes.
Is it .com?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Is it .com or .org?
Mhm.
Oh my God! Oh my God! HNB Foundation at USA.com.
Oh, at USA.com. Okay.
Okay. At USA.com.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
we're invited.
And so we could where will the seminar be held?
It will be held at the Indiana Avenue Church of God in Christ, and that's in Detroit at 20475 Indiana Avenue at 8 Mile, just across from Kroger, near Wyoming. We have got,
Okay.
yeah,
I know where you are.
right.
I went to Mumford. I graduated from Mumford.
Okay, okay. Oh, you're Mumford.
Yeah, so very familiar with the area.
Okay. No, isn't Mumford? Is Mumford? Where's Mumford?
Mumford is 6 Mile, 6 Mile between 7 Mile and I'm
yeah,
sorry, it's
okay.
it's on
Yeah.
Wyoming between 7 and 6. Wyoming.
Yeah, Mumford, that's close by your church. Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, so we're inviting everyone out. Those who are curious, they can come, because when you begin to talk about it, people should realize that if you're an African American, you are susceptible. Chances are you will have cancer. You cannot contract cancer by having sex with a cancer patient, or kissing a cancer patient, or someone who have cancer, or somebody cough on you, or somebody spit on you. You can't catch it like that. In most instances, it's in the genes. If anyone in your family history has got cancer, chances are you will too. The fact that I have prostate cancer, my son is a prime candidate.
Okay.
So this is something that is very serious, and sometimes we need to do that genetic screening, and I think MD4 does that too, and they will tell you if anyone in your
family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important, and this is something that is killing our African American brothers more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
African American, yes.
And I'm sorry. I can understand the fear of being tested though, or just, for that, because I mean, and when I had to go for my first mammogram, I was petrified.
Yes.
All I could think about is it's gonna hurt. It's gonna flatten them. You know how long it took me to get these? You know what I'm saying? So, I was just like, I don't want them flat. It took me about 6 years to actually probably a little bit longer than that, because I think for a mammogram they start at 35 now. And I'm 48. I just got my first mammogram 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it took me forever to get the courage to actually get it done. And after I did, it was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. So I felt like an idiot for running from it for so long, because once it happened, it was over with quick, and
exactly.
I took a deep breath, exhaled, and it was done. So for my brothers out there, that's that fear sitting in you to keeping you from going to do it, go get it done. It'll be real quick and easy. It'll be over before you know it. And you're probably building it up in your head and making it way more than what it actually is, because that's what I was doing. I built up that mammogram into like some monster in my head that I was running from. And it was I made it way bigger than what it really was. I psyched myself out. You know what I'm saying? I made myself fearful of something that really didn't even hurt.
Our biggest fear is the fear of the unknown. And that's what
Yeah.
it is. Also, biggest fear, we are afraid of the things we don't see or we don't know about. And this is the reason why uh, we need to start talking about it more. We need to start talking about it more so that the unknown becomes more tangible. It comes forward. Um, in my book, I've got this little thing that I always, when I'm autographing my book, it says here, um, it's in your book or my book. It says here that um, let me see, it's in your book. I forgot. Oh, here it is. Knowledge can take you a long way, but understanding will take you all the way.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. So the more you understand it, the more you can cope with it. Because you realize, just like you said, is that we are really making it bigger than it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Because cancer, like it was 50 years ago, a death sentence, not anymore. Medical technology has advanced so much that cancer is just a matter of treating it, catching it early, treating it and dealing with it. You don't have to die. I said in the book that the vehicle that you're driving, it can be a dangerous object if it is not handled properly.
Right.
You've got a gun. It can be dangerous if it's not handled properly. You know, anything can be dangerous. The light socket can be dangerous if you don't handle it properly. And this is what we are saying, is that the more you know and understand about prostate cancer, the more you realize that is doable. You can live. And the book says that coping with prostate cancer, and the subtitle says the aftermath.
Yes.
After you have had prostate cancer, then it will tell you how to deal with it.
So let me ask you, everything is a trend. So, vegans, eating healthy, eating clean. And a lot of people say, and I'm not sure how true this is, that meat, eating red meats or certain meats, the antioxidants or whatever that's in those meat products affect our bodies, and that can also give us cancer properties or cells or so forth. Is that, in your experience, how is your diet changed?
Okay, not being a dietitian will not allow me to scientifically address that.
Right.
But the thing is that our lifestyle, African Americans, has got a dietary problem. We don't really care too much about what we eat. And that is one of the big things. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you eat a lot of red meat, you will have cancer. You can have a lot of red meat and don't eat cancer and don't have cancer. But the chances of you having cancer by eating insurmountable amount of red meat, it will contribute to you having cancer more so than if you hadn't eaten it at all. So your lifestyle, they say that eating fatty foods, we love doing that at the barbecue pit. We love doing that. You know, the fried chicken, we love doing that. And, I'm not stereotyping.
No, I'm with you because I do love
but we love our fried
barbecue.
chicken. We love our fried chicken. We love, and then they've got this thing in that's one of the identity of a Jamaican is not so much marijuana, but jerk pork. We just love jerk pork.
Okay.
And eating that pork, it's a contributing factor, not only towards prostate cancer, but a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So if we shape up our lifestyle, we will realize that we will live longer. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to be defeating prostate cancer. It doesn't necessarily mean that we'll even have anything to do with prostate cancer. It will help obese. It will help diabetes. It will do so many things by just eating right. So that's
exercising.
Exercising.
So has your diet changed much? Has your diet changed a lot?
Yes, it has. And I'll tell you, most contributing factor is her. She makes sure that I drink a lot of water. No, I don't eat meat anymore. And because she doesn't. And so I can't go shop for meat because I can't bring it into the house, and I am too lazy to go hide and put it together. So and this is the reason why you have got to have a woman in your life that really cares about you.
Yeah.
Listen, this woman will wake me up in the middle of the night to go take my sleeping pill. So yeah, you've got to have that person that, because we don't want. I find it hard to drink water, but she got this water and she brought one. She said, "Honey, you're going to be talking for a while, so I'm going to bring a bottle of water." She does that. How many bottles of water have you drunk today? I don't want to lie to her because I want to be as truthful as I possibly can, and so I pretend as if I didn't hear her. So as not to answer a lot. Listen, she is hard of hearing, but believe me, I have capitalized on that more than anything, because I would say, I already told you, you just didn't hear me. But she wants me to drink water and I'm sometimes, if I see she's in one of those mood, I would do one of those go in the basement thing and not come up until I believe that mood has passed.
But that's why you look so vibrant and your skin is glowing, and
Yes,
you
thank
sit
you
with
very
them
much.
pearly whites just a smiling like, yay for the water. Keep up the water, okay?
Yeah, she's a blessing to me, and I am supposed to say these things because she's sitting right here, yeah, but she knows I'm telling the truth. She's really a blessing to me, to the extent that I don't want to do anything. She allows me to be myself to an extent. As far as where my health concerns, that's when she really steps in. Make sure, have you taken your medication? Have you drunk enough water? Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done that? And she's kind of borderline nagging, but that's okay. I can deal with that because it's helped me to be and believe me, I am extremely healthy. I'm as vibrant as I can be. The next, I will be in my 81st year next year, and 5 years down the road, I will be in my 86th birthday. So hey, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And y'all, you just seem so lively. Like you got so much energy and life. You must be a treat to live with.
Thank you.
Yeah, he is energetic. He loves to be on the computer. He loves a lot learning things. He's taken some tests. He's now he has a certificate. He has certification in coaching, life coaching. He just took some classes in psychology. He's very smart. He's a very smart man.
Look at me blushing.
And he's energetic. And sometimes I tell him, I said, they must have, apparently they made a mistake on your birthday, because sometimes I don't believe he's 80 years old.
Right, I'm sitting here looking at you. Don't by any way, like neither one of you look like your ages. Real talk, like you do not look like your ages. And then with all of this energy and personality and everything that you have, I'm like, this man cannot be 80 years old. So yes, and maybe so is that from your talk show days when you were a talk show host? All of that vibrant energy that you have, or is that just you?
No, that's just me. That's just me. Well, I tell you, it's been enhanced a lot because she is. Oh, talking about let me say that you can look and see our degree and our stuff on the wall. Can you see them?
Yes.
That's so. She has got all that stuff, and she knows every that. So she's one very energetic person. That's her. And my little wall is small, so she really encourages me to So I thought when I retired, I thought I was really going to retire. No, since then I have written 2 books since we got married, and I'm doing a whole bunch of things because she says that I am competing with her, but I think she's the one that's competing with me because I believe I've done more than she has.
Well, they
She,
say healthy competition is good as long as it's healthy competition.
yeah,
Right. And then we can look at it as you guys are challenging each other to continue
Yes.
to grow, the continued growth.
Yeah.
So
in-
yeah.
in inspiring each other to do our best, as they say, to live our best life, and that's what we're doing, living our best life. We want to go to Jamaica. Actually, we went to Jamaica on our honeymoon, and we were thinking about going to Jamaica. A friend of his has a place in Jamaica. We want to go. Hopefully, we'll go before winter and stay at least a month there. Yes, we'll see how things turn out.
Well, that would be great. And that's the beauty of being like retired now.
Yes.
You could kind of move
And healthy.
your own
And
pace.
healthy.
Yeah, and enjoy your life and travel and everything. I love that. And since you did bring up Jamaica, and I know you don't like talking about your accolades, but everybody, Mr. Horatio Bennett was inducted into the Detroit Music Hall of Fame. And he is the creator of the Detroit Caribbean Carnival, which he created back in 1971. So tell me a little bit about what that scene was like. What did that
Well, I think, well, like I said, when I came to the United States, I took off running. And I was in Detroit, and one of the things that a lot of Detroiters were going to Toronto for the Caravana. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
And when I came here, I said, why are we going to Toronto? We can have our own carnival here. And I remember I wrote a letter to Coleman Young and asking for the permission to have a carnival. He gave us a day, and we call that, it was the West Indian Day, and he gave us a day. And I remember because I had a reggae band, and I remember we started from Kennedy Square, which was like way down near Hudson, where the whole Hudson was. That's where Kennedy Square was it? And we had a road march. My band, we rented a U-Haul trailer, and we had the musicians in the band, and the parade was going to Bellagio. There were about 6 people in the road, in the parade. Not a lot of people, because a lot of people were kind of curious what is happening, because it wasn't anything like Caravana. But that's how it started. We had that carnival, and we kept it going for about 3-4 years until we decided that I wanted to do other things. I started on radio. I was on radio for 14 years, and published the newspaper. Girl, I've done so many things. Like I said, it's embarrassing talking about it, but this is what America has: opportunity, and I took advantage of all those opportunities. They were handicaps, but I didn't see them. Handicaps to me were challenges to be overcome.
Right.
And this is what I started doing. One of the things, when I finally became a Christian, I was on the radio, and I used to, I was playing all this reggae music, this Bob Marley, Jah Rastafari, and Haile Selassie, my God, and all that type of stuff. When I became a Christian, I remember I said, this was so presumptuous, being on the radio, playing this music, which I didn't believe in. And I went to my pastor, and I told him, I say, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to quit my job. He says, why? I said, well, I think it's presumptuous for me to be sitting here on the radio playing all this music that I didn't really believe in. He says, no, don't quit your job. You wait until the Holy Spirit tells you not to do it anymore. That way I would not look back. And I remember I had just started working for Martha Jean, WJLB. I had started to work for WJLB. I was doing the program there also. I was simultaneously, I was like on 4 radio stations doing Caribbean music. And I remember one day it just came to me. I say, yeah, no more. I just handed my resignation to those 4 radio stations, never went back, never missed it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that is how God has got a plan for us. In everybody's life, there is a purpose.
Yes.
And it might take us way into our adult age before that purpose is realized. Or that purpose can be realized at a very, very early age.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, I am glad that God has given me enough time to continue working on his purpose. And he never did say, Horatio, go minister to the brothers about prostate cancer. God never told me to do that. It was impaled in my heart, which I am attributing that to the moving of the Holy Spirit. And this is why I'm doing it. If he doesn't want me to do it, you know what he will do? Tell me not to do it.
Yeah.
But he hasn't told me not to do it, so I'm going to continue to do it.
Well, let's talk about your foundation then, HNB Foundation.
Oh wow, that's another story by itself. My late wife, we used to travel from we were living in Georgia, and we used to travel from Georgia to Detroit regularly. And one time we were going to Detroit and our car broke down in Tennessee, and we were 400 miles away from McDonough in Georgia, and we were like 600 miles away from Detroit. So we were like, what are we going to do? Are we going to call somebody in McDonough to come drive that 400 miles and help us? Or was I going to call somebody from Detroit? And both of those were impractical. So we sat there and we saw we were in Tennessee, and we saw this big SUV, a black one, rode past, and it slowed up, and then it made a U-turn. So I told Tash, I said, Tash, go sit in the car, let me deal with this, because I know that we were in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay. The SUV came beside me, and the guy rolled the window down, just like halfway up. You know, those guys roll the window that you only can see the top of their head, because these were all, what do you call that? When the glass, what do you call that glass? Tinted glass. Yeah. Right. So he could see me, I couldn't see him. So he says, you guys having problem. But the way he asked it, it wasn't accusatory in any way. It was a question. And I said, yeah, my vehicle broke down, and we're trying to figure out. He said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Detroit. He said, oh, you're from Detroit. I said, yeah. And he said, where are you coming from? And I said, I'm coming from McDonough. And he says, oh, he rolled the window down. And when I look across, there was a lady sitting there and 2 kids in the back. And I said, okay, that's kind of safe. So I stepped up to the door, and he says, and the lady says, well, would you like us to take you home? And I said, we know that we weren't going to anybody's home in Tennessee. There were 2 white people, and I know we weren't going to anybody's home. So I said, no, that's okay. And they might have detected the hesitancy in my voice, and they said, no, we'll take you home. I said, you take us home to McDonough? He said, yes, because they were living in McDonough. They live in Tennessee, and how I knew that they were living in McDonough, because they told me the street on which they lived, and I knew that street. So I know, I said, well, possibly, they are telling the truth. And that family drove us from Tennessee 400 miles to McDonough in Georgia, exit 222 off I-75. And they drove us there. Wow. The guy stopped one for gas. And when we reached, he pulled up in our driveway, because my wife's Lincoln was parked there, and that was our brand new Lincoln. I drove my car because I didn't want to add the miles to the Lincoln or whatever. And he pulled up in the driveway. And when I got out the car, I had $100 rolled up, and I put it in his hand, and he looked at it and he said, no, I can't do that. And I thought he was saying $100 wasn't enough, because really $100 was not enough for you to drive a big expedition all the way from Tennessee to Georgia. And he said, no, we can't take that. And he He says, I just saw two people in need and we helped them. And he put the car in reverse and he backed out and he was gone.
Oh, look at
And
God.
I said to Tash, I said, baby, I said, either we have met an angel or we have met some real good people. And right there in front of our garage, we held hand and we made a pledge to God that we will not see a person in need and not at least try to help them. I went inside and I started a foundation. No, not a foundation. I started a website called the Good People Network, in which we encourage one to help other, like paying it forward. And we
Yeah.
did. And then eventually it evolved into the foundation, the Horatio and Natasha Bennett's Foundation. And we have, because of the good deed that one person did, and the man don't even know, I'm trying to find him. I hope he listens to this program and he says, yeah, I remember, because I am trying to find him.
Yeah.
I still am trying to find him. And we have helped thousands of people in Detroit and in Southeast Michigan by distributing blankets. Congresswoman Debbie Stabenow made this arrangement for the federal government to give us blankets. And they have given us blankets every year, and we distribute the blankets to people. And the reason why we were chosen over like the Salvation Army and the Red Cross and whatever is because we physically go on the street and hand out blankets to people.
Yes. Yeah.
The Red Cross, you have got to go to their what have you, you have got to go to whatever, our Salvation Army. But us, we drive down the street and we always have blankets in the car. And we drive down, we see a homeless person, we just roll the window down, hand them a blanket, may God bless you, and we are gone.
Amen.
After Tosh passed away, now you're thinking about starting again, right?
Right. Since Tash has passed, my zeal was not there, because just like Odeather has that impact on my life, she has that impact also. And in her absence, I didn't feel that zeal, and I didn't. And since I met her, then she began to put that, that do good type of thing in me, because she's a do gooder.
Mm-hmm.
She is a do gooder. And I said, well, okay, it's a 501 C3 organization. It's non-profit, and we give tax write-off to what have you. But one most important thing, and I'm not going to drag this, but one most important thing is that where did we get money to do in the initial part of our organization? We were financing it ourselves. And you know how we financing it? We paid about $400 a month in tithing to our church. Not a whole lot. Well, it's a lot if you haven't got a lot of money. $400 a month. And we decided that, we can do a whole lot better. The church that I was attending was a huge church, one of the largest church, not only in Michigan, but in United States. It has like 27,000 members.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, our $400 is not going to make a lot of difference. So we began sending the $400 to China or India, and they in turn would send us blankets. Well, we sent $300 to them, and the other $100 we go to the dollar store when it was a dollar store. We go to the dollar store and we buy soap and toothpaste and little things, and we put it in a little care package, and that's how we were handing it out. So it didn't take long for us to really get into to discover the joy in giving.
Yeah.
The joy in giving. I'll go to, whenever I speak at a church, when we're distributing the blanket, we would ask the pastor, please give your congregation, you would give them like maybe 100 blankets, and let them experience the joy in giving, because a lot of people don't know the joy in giving, not because they didn't want to give, but because they haven't got anything to give.
Yeah.
So you give them something to give, and believe me, you give them 10 blankets, and believe me, next week they're going to ask for more, because it is such a joy in handing something to somebody.
Yeah.
It is such a joy, and that's what we discovered.
Yeah,
Yes.
So now that Horatio and I are together, we're getting that energy back again. And the winter will be coming soon, so we want to be able to
Oh, yes.
to get some blankets and share them with people. You have a certain kind of blanket now, but to give the cloth blankets, I think would be
Ye-
good.
Yes, yes. The blankets that the federal government gave us are wool.
Wool blankets.
Yeah, they are wool blankets, and a lot of places won't take them because the wool blankets, they are susceptible to having insects or what have you.
Yeah, the bed bugs.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So what we do, we would buy like cashmere blankets or what, you know. So that's what we're doing. We're going to step up on the quality because a lot of people, like I said, we distribute a lot of blankets to NSO, and at one stage they decided that they're not taking any more blankets because it's attracting bed bugs. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because we are stepping up on the quality. But this is a purpose.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna ask, on your website, is there a way where a person can donate or find out information on where they can donate or how they can donate to help purchase the blankets, the upgrade of the blankets and so forth, or even other toiletry and personal hygiene products? How can
Exactly.
we contribute?
The website address is hnbfoundation.org. hnbfoundation.org.
Okay.
And we issue, like I said, any donation is tax deductible. You know, we right after tax, we are accepting donations from cars to anything, because there are 100, no, not 100, there are 18,000 homeless people are in Southeast Michigan on any given day that are roaming the street. 18,000, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we didn't really realize that so many destitute and homeless people are around. We realize that when winter comes and then you've got to house them, then you realize that's how so many of them, because many of them are sleeping under the bridges. They can't do that during winter, so they have got to find these shelters.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things that we are doing. Like I said, you know, if a lot of us, we are waiting for God to say, go do this, go do that, go do that. But we'd be surprised to know that God has already told us, but we just didn't hear it and we just didn't realize it. If you feel somewhere like Dr. Bennett feels this compassion for the deaf people. You see, sometimes maybe the deaf people need that advocacy. The deaf people needed somebody to speak up for them. So what did God do? Took away her hearing so she can empathize, because empathy is what really brings about service.
Yeah.
If you can empathize with somebody's need, then you're inclined to serve them a lot better.
A phrase that I just learned recently, I think I was listening to Steve Harvey, and it was a clip he was saying, and he said something to the effect of, we have to stop looking at it as, why is this happening to, no, I'm sorry, I think that was Jay-Z that said that. Instead of thinking like, why is this happening to me, we have to look at it as, what does this mean? Or you know, not so much as it's happening to me, but it's happening for me. So we have to figure out that for, you know what I'm saying? And we have to stop looking at everything that happens to us that's a tragedy or bad, like it's happening. And it made me kind of sit and reevaluate some things. And when I started looking back over certain patterns, and I'm like, oh, I remember when I lost this job, but when I lost that job, because I was determined I wasn't going nowhere, it set me up for that job. And that job is what ultimately led to this one, which is the one that I love. and my passion, and got me back into school and doing and learning and so forth and so on. And then that moved me over. So when I look at it, all those things that I thought was happening to me was actually happening for me.
Oh,
Yes,
glory
yes,
to God.
yes.
So yeah, so when you said that
What
about
it
the
is,
hearing, it made me think of that.
what it is it's your journey. It's your journey to get where you are at each step where you are. So that's why when I lost my hearing, I became hard. I have to say it right. And also I wanted to share, when you are talking to people that are hard of hearing, deaf or deafblind, you can't say they're experiencing challenges, or you can't say that they've lost their hearing. You have to say what they are. If they are hard of hearing, that's what you say. If they're deaf, blind, that's what you say. If they are deaf, that's what you say. So, but when I became hard of hearing, it was like, why? But again, when I start saying, God, what are you preparing me for? I was able to look at it differently. And it was like God said, this is what I'm preparing you for. I want you to go out to the deaf and hard of hearing community and work with them, not for them, work with them to address some things that need to be addressed. You have been a hearing person with the hearing community, so you know hearing community. You know people who are in the hearing community. You know political people who can help. So this is what I've chosen you to do. So don't look at it as why. Don't ask me that question. Ask me, what are you preparing me for? And believe me, anyone who's listening, change your words.
Yeah.
Change your words to say, what are you preparing me for? And God will open up doors that you think that will never be opened up for you.
Yeah.
But it will be. So it's it's a great opportunity to be on your show today. Earthly Angel.
It was definitely my pleasure to have you. I could just listen to him talk all day. He's just so charismatic. So charismatic. Just listen to him all day. But I really do appreciate you guys coming on for a number of reasons. You know, the information on prostate cancer, the building of awareness in our Black community, promoting and encouraging our brothers to get out there and get checked. For the women that's in their lives, whether it's a spouse or a close friend or whoever that person is in your life, whether it's a woman or your brother, you know, it could be a best, whoever that person is in your life that is encouraging you to go and get those tests. Know that they're doing it out of love for you. They're doing it because they want to see you always at your best self. So go and get those tests. And then the highlight of it all is your love story, is your individual journey and how those journeys brought you together.
Yes.
And the love that you found with each other, the fact that you rekindled his zeal and got that fire burning up in him again. So he's energetic and back into living and wanting to be out here and doing things in the community with you by his side as his, not just his helpmate, but you know, his earthly angel, his God sent person.
Yes.
So I really, really, really admire what you two are doing and what you have. And all I can say is thank you so much for spending this time with me. But before you go, we have to play a round of, okay, you guys, so I found the name for it. Richard Heath. I told you, Richard Heath, that I kind of took your idea with the rapid fire questions, but I found the name for it. So we're going to call it the Faithful Freestyle Moment. Okay. The Faithful Freestyle. So we're not thinking, we're just going to ramble off some answers. Okay. All right. So
excuse me.
My first question to you, and I want to say as a couple. So I'm going to ask you, Dr. Hill, to answer this in regards to your husband. Okay, so it's like a newlywed round. All right.
Yeah, okay, we love that.
What is a movie that he can watch over and over and over again and never get tired?
It's a movie, or can it be something else?
It could be something else.
Oh, he loves to listen to Chevy Franklin. Chevy? Chevelle Franklin.
Okay. Now, who is Chevelle Franklin?
Yeah, she is she's a Jamaican,
right?
And she sings gospel music. She is awesome. Sometimes she has an audience of 1 million people sometimes.
Yes, she would perform before 750,000 people, 1 million people, because mostly she is in Africa or in Europe, and her audience consists of normally 1 million people.
Oh, wow.
She is fantastic. And I would listen to her. Yes, I would. Yeah, that's good
Listen
answer.
to her all day.
Good answer. Did they teach you that in doctor school?
No, you taught me.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm glad we taught you that in doctor school. That's okay.
Okay. And so for Mr. Bennett to Dr. Hill now. So you're going to answer the question, Dr. Hill. Or I'm sorry, you're going to answer it based on what she would like. What would you say is her favorite time of day, morning, noon, or night?
Why do you have to ask me the hard one? Why do you have to ask me the hard one? I think it's morning, because she gets up earlier than I do, and I think she has a joy in like fixing breakfast. Okay. You know, a lot of times I'm having breakfast in bed, you know, and I'm saying that to encourage her to keep on doing that, you know. Okay. I think that's what it is. That's her best time.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to come back to you, Dr. Bennett. What would you say he would say his favorite thing is about himself? What does he love about himself the most?
He loves talking about himself. He loves talking about his knowledge, the things he knows about, and he's pretty smart. If I have to say that in front of him, he's pretty smart. He loves writing books. Okay. He loves doing that. He loves sitting in front of the computer, thinking of things to do. I'm really amazed about his energy and his knowledge that he has. And
wait. Is he trying to borrow money? Because it's not like somebody's buttering me up to borrow money. Are you trying to borrow money, babe? You don't have to do a lot to borrow money. You just ask. Okay.
I think you asked me for one thing, but I just thought about so many different things that he. But I love seeing him do that, because it keeps his brain energized. It keeps his energy going, and keeps him young. Like I said, he doesn't seem like he's 80 years old. He
does not. Like, I want that type of energy now. Okay, so we're going to come back to you, Mr. Bennett. Describe your wife in 3 words.
Wow. First thing, without a shadow of a doubt, she is highly intelligent. And it hasn't got anything to do with the fact that she is a doctor. Just her outlook on life in general, she's very intelligent. She deciphers things. She analyzes things, and she does that very effectively. That's the first one. She is intelligent. The second thing, she is a very passionate person. She is a loving person, and I think um, I am not planning on borrowing any money from you. I am saying this is the real, this is the truth. She's a very compassionate person. She sometimes I think she cares too much about what others think, about me or even us. She would say, honey, you need to do it. You need to put on that shirt. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to not say that. She really cares. That's the second thing. She's compassionate, she's curious. And the third thing, she has got this thing that I call her Africa or Ghana. I shouldn't say that. Okay, all right. She doesn't want me to say that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't want me to say it. She's supposed to be doing that though? Or am I supposed to openly express myself? She's not here. But yeah, she is very attractive. She is very intelligent, and she is, for her to live with a Jamaican and to be so successful at it, she needs to have a doctorate in that alone. Because believe me, we are not the world's easiest person to live with. We are not. We are so egotistical. We believe we know everything.
Yes.
We believe that the world evolves around us.
Yes.
And she having to live with that, and we are still so madly in love. Girl, she needs a doctorate. She needs a doctorate, for just that alone. That's her.
I love that. Okay, so the last question here is, and this one you two can collab on. If you had a theme song to represent your marriage, what would that theme song be?
Okay, is it? I should answer it, or she? How do we answer it? That's
You could collaborate. Maybe you have the
Oh.
same song. Maybe you have different songs in mind, but both of you can answer.
Okay. There is a song that Andrew Crouch, I think this is his most popular song. It's called "Through It All."
Mm.
And I think that is the one that I said our relationship is so so cemented on. I'm trying to find another word for perfection, but it's going to really mean the same thing. Simply because we have been through it all.
Yeah.
And because we have been through it all, we have now learned to not depend on us, not depend on what we do, but to depend on that third person that is right there in the background, and that is God. Through it all, we have learned to do all these things, but we have also learned to depend on God more so than anything else. So through it all is my answer.
Yes.
Amen. You agree? You would choose "Through It All"?
Yes, through it all. And there's a song, I'm not sure the title, but it's "You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings."
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you ever know you were my hero?
Yes, my hero.
Yes,
Mariah,
yes.
Mariah,
Oh, my mama
yeah.
used to love that song. My
Yeah,
mama used to
yeah.
love that song. Well, I really do want to thank you guys for joining us today. I hope you learned a lot about prostate cancer. In the description box below, you're going to have all the information on the seminar that's coming up, the date, the location. I will have the website in there for your registration. We will also have the website in there for the foundation. So if you want to donate blankets, money, toys, gift cards, whatever it is you can donate to help, we will have that information posted for you also. Mr. and Dr. Bennett, I want to make sure I put the respect on your name with that doctor. I'm putting that respect on your name. Again, I want to thank you. Do you usually I ask my guests if they have any final thoughts or words of encouragement or anything that you want to leave with our viewers?
Well, for me, I want to encourage people to live their journey, to go through, not stay, go through their experiences that you are experiencing, because it will take you to a higher place, depending on how you think about it, depending on your actions, and depending on your goals, depending on your dream. You got to have a dream first. You have that dream, you believe that you can accomplish your dream by setting goals and plans and having earthly angels here to assist you on your way. Those are some things that you have, and believe that there's a higher power, because there is. There's a higher power, and you can call it whatever you want to call it, God, Jesus, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Believe there's a higher power in the universe that can help you, to lead you in the directions where you want to go. And think positive. Sometimes we have negative thoughts, and we all have negative thoughts. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. But think about how you can do something, rather than thinking about how you can't. Because if you think about how you can, you're going to take the steps. But if you say, no, I can't do it, you're going to stay there. You're going to stay in that one spot, wishing that you had taken a step that you are afraid to take. You know, moving forward, sometimes you have to move forward and then stop and think about it. Sometimes you have to move back a little bit, but know that you can keep moving forward, that you have to have the faith to do that.
Amen.
The challenges that you going to be meeting. There's if I can say this, there's a church guest house entertainment. It's going to be, has done an interview on me in 2018. So it's going to be they're launching on November the 1st.
Okay.
However, I have to find out which day that they're going to do my episode. But it's an episode on my life experience. We're talking about the challenges, talking about me chopping cotton, picking cotton, and earning my doctorate degree, and so forth. And then again, I have a book that's coming out. I'm not sure yet, but that's going to come out. And I'm also going to talk about many of the challenges and how I believe in God to get me where I am, and how my grandmother, someone has to have a grandmother someplace, whether it's your biological grandmother, whether it's an adopted grandmother, whether it's an aunt that's acting like the grandmother, but someone that can help lay a foundation for you that you can stand on as you are traveling your journey. Life is a journey. And as you travel your journey, there will be challenges, but overcome those challenges. Use those challenges as stepping stones to get where you want to get. I'm a witness, and my husband, Horatio, is a witness as well.
Yes.
So my word to you is believe, have faith, develop goals and plans, and know that there is a higher power, and know that God puts heavenly angels in your life to help you through.
Amen. Amen.
I just have a short thing to say, is that we have got to realize everyone has a purpose, and we have got to realize our purpose. Don't wait until a Gideon's fleece till you hear a big voice that says, go do this. Sometimes our purpose is already embedded in us. If you have got a passion for anything, as long as it is someone will derive benefit from what you're doing, that possibly might be your purpose in life. Just go out and activate it. If it's not what God wants you to do, he has a way of removing you or pointing you in the next direction. But just don't be be not complacent, but don't be sitting there waiting for something to happen. Find a good purpose. The Bible says that if there is something good to do, just go out and do it. If you let your hands find something good to do, and that's my final thought. Just realize your purpose and act on it.
Amen. Well, thank you. Y'all heard it here. Think positive. Speak good things into yourself. The words you speak hold power. The tongue is the strongest muscle, holds so much power. So make sure you're speaking good things to yourself. I tell you guys all the time, and I posted on my Faithfully Her group page, that you have to change the I can'ts to the I can.
Oh, yes.
Statements. You have to speak those positive things into your existence, because that's the only way you're going to overcome the things that's holding you back. You have to believe in yourself. So on that note, I want to thank you again for joining us for today's segment of Faithfully Her. All the information will be in the description box. And as always, my faithfuls, show up, show out, and shine, shine, shine. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys. Have a blessed week.